Hi, I'm Elliot, a writer, and I'm typing out The Great Gatsby. Why? Because that was something Hunter S Thompson did because he wanted to see what it would be like to write a masterpiece. Now that I've started this project 7 months ago, I need to finish it. So, join me every Saturday until I finish this whole novel. Oh, hello there. Welcome back to another episode of Typing Out The Great Gatsby with me, Elliot. Welcome. Oh, and that's really all I had planned. Oh my God. It's a lovely October day. Who knows how many we'll have left of these lovely days, right? It's supposed to rain this weekend. Guess we'll deal with that when that comes, right? I guess we'll deal with that when that comes. I'm actually glad I got through the summer because it was really hot doing this with the windows closed and everything. So I'm just trying to find things to be grateful for. Another thing to be grateful for, we're almost done. This whole thing. We're almost done The Great Gatsby. 2 more chapters left. 2 more chapters. I really do think I could get this done in 6 episodes. Fingers crossed. I'm really focused. It's like the last mile of a marathon is the hardest. I wouldn't even say this is the last mile. There's maybe like 6 more miles here. 6 more miles. Not that every episode is a mile. There were a few tough points in the middle. I think it's so easy to stop at the beginning. It's too hard to stop now. So I just have to finish. And focus on that, really. Get through this, and then I could go on with my life. Wow. This is like the attitude I have towards long things. I've always known that I'm not a very patient person. When I was a kid, life story time with Elliot Chan. Gatsby later. For now, life story. I known from a very early age that I was not a patient person. When I was a kid, I wanted to get into animation. Like, I want to be an animator and like create animation. I was like, I got really into claymation for a while, and that took forever. So now I write novels. Yeah. Everything takes forever. Just come to accept that. I think we live in an age where we're obsessed with instant gratification, especially those Gen Zs, if you know what I mean. But I mean, as a millennial, I think it's really affected my brain as well. God, I wish I was a boomer. If I was a boomer, probably wouldn't be doing this. Probably, I don't know what boomers do. What do they do? Probably just hate on things. Anyways, that's all I have to say about that. This is going well so far. This is as good as any other episode, I think. I think this was a nice warm-up. Okay, enough of this. Let's get started. We're starting a new chapter today. Chapter 8. Who would have thought we would get to chapter 8? Also hate it when it's just like the page breaks happen in between. The OCD part of me wants to fix it, but I'm just gonna mention it without fixing it. Yeah, chapter 8, a new chapter. A lot has happened in chapter 7. You could almost say that the climax have happened. And so with that being the case, where are we now in the story? Well, you could say that we're now in the falling action, the third act of the story. And I was just trying to think about, the hero's journey. Not that there is a specific hero in this story with the journey, but you could say that we're currently in the dark night of the soul section of the hero's journey part of the story. And so right now, it seems like, things were going well for Gatsby for a bit, and now things have gone really bad. So our intention for pretty much the remainder of the story is we're going to look at how Fitzgerald wraps it up. What makes a good conclusion to a story? What does it need? Well, it needs to sort of tie things up. Any unresolved questions that we have, just wrap it up, have a good payoff for what happened previously, like all the setups that's happened, and just leave us with a sense that this journey was worth going on. Yeah. So Dark Night of the Soul, we're going to look at how Gatsby is dealing with this, rock bottom situation that he's in. He's found his love, and now he might lose his love. All right, let's get started with chapter 8. So, unlike other chapter beginnings, I feel like this is happening immediately or shortly after the previous events, which is the car accident, returning back to Tom's place. So now Nick is just worried about Gatsby. So there isn't as big of a time jump as we noticed from previous chapter, which jumped like weeks and months. pages. Alrighty. Rats. Inside. All right, the scene is set. Nick is gonna have a conversation with Gatsby. It's very important because he has a feeling that Gatsby might not be around for long. Because he's a murderer. Actually, Daisy's the murderer. Well, he has a bad feeling. I called it. Get away. Literally, Nick is such a voice of reason that I really do feel like I'm him. Because Gatsby is so absurd. Here's the interesting thing about picking like the point of view character is like, how relatable do you want him to be? Right now, Nick is way more relatable than Gatsby, right? Imagine if the story was told through Gatsby's point of view. I don't know. It might be more fun. It might be a better book, actually. It might be more exciting. Yeah, he can't go away now. It looks suspicious. He needs to stay. So, what Fitzgerald's kind of creating now is like different options, you know, and it's easy to just jump to like what he does next, but he wants to put us in this scenario where how is he going to get up from this dark night of the soul situation? Like, he wants us to be there with them as they're deciding, and I think this is a very important scene. It's a scene that, you know, if you're rushing through it, you can skip over. But I think there's a lot of drama and yeah, there's a lot of drama in this. Montreal. Facey. Can't abandon her. That's not what a lover would do. You don't abandon someone you love, right? Nick doesn't get that. They only just got back together. So tragic. Oh, this Dan Cody guy. if I was Nick, I would cut ties with this Gatsby guy. I'm like, I don't want to be a part of whatever you're doing anymore. This really makes me remember previously, from previous episode, I mentioned that there's this theory that Gatsby is black. I don't think he's black, by the way. He's responding to this tragedy that had occurred, and his involvement with it. This doesn't seem like the behavior of someone who isn't white. A lot of white privilege. He's talking about Daisy still. God's sakes. Someone died, right? Yeah, Gatsby is slowly, within the past few pages, have really become the villain of the story. And that, I think that's, when you talk about how a story should end, it should end with some sort of transformation, right? Whether it's the main character, or it's a setting, or it's an idea, something needs to change during the course of the story, and we're kind of seeing it now. And what's changing the most is perhaps our impression of this guy. It's like, who is this guy really? It's like, oh, we're beginning to understand who he is fully. And I think that's an important aspect as you sort of enter the third act or work your way through the third act, is this, how has this character changed, or how has things changed? Yeah. Dark Night of the Soul. I don't know. Okay. You can also feel the pace of the story slowing down a lot from the previous chapter, and every time you kind of have a chapter break, you kind of have to build it back up again. It's like an episode of a television show. You could start on like the cliffhanger where you left off, but there has to be that arc still of a story. We talked about like fractals before, and what was it called? The Freytag pyramid? Freytag's pyramid? I think that's what it's called. I might be wrong. And it's kind of that idea that things are built out of smaller things that are exactly the same. So I think we're building up to something again. I'm saying this because, like, come on, let's get some action here. I just don't feel like typing today. Where am I? Mystery about it. There you go. Okay. So, we were talking about like wrapping up loose ends, and I think that's what Fitzgerald's trying to do now. He's trying to make us understand why Gatsby is so enamored with Daisy. So that's an important thing of why Gatsby is like, okay, even in this crisis situation, he's choosing to stay with her because this is really important. She's really important to him. So that's like a little plot hole that he has to like cover up. So this is what's happening there. It's like, okay, this is why it's so important. Bear with us here. So we know Daisy is important, and we know the reason he likes her is because other dudes like her. Trying to understand what's happening here. Okay. Now we understand Gatsby's kind of intention for all the crazy parties. Things are actually wrapping up. I'm kind of getting it because he might not have any money at all. This is like a previously type of chapter beginning, just kind of filling in some pieces. A lot of exposition happening here. Almost too much. Jeez. Matter of fact. To be blown. All right. Okay. Explaining a lot here. A lot is being explained to us. That Gatsby might not be so great after all, right? I think this is what this opening section of this chapter is revealing to us. That Gatsby is not so great. Imagine if the story was told through Tom's perspective and it was called The Great Buchanan. Someone write it? It's probably already written. Yeah. I'm just a little conflicted about how I feel about this section, you know? There's a lot of telling, and I think the most, cliche writing advice is the show don't tell thing, but this is all just telling. This is Nick just telling us what Gatsby is going through. And it's just, it could be so much dialogue and action. I actually thought there would be a lot of drama in this scene. There isn't any at all, but just really quickly, it summed up a lot about how Gatsby is currently feeling. But is this the best method? I don't know. Squeaked. Got a cold. Okay. All right. What can I say? How is he going to get out of this? How is he going to recover? Oh my God, still talking about her. I just want something to happen. What was the use of doing great things if I could have a better time telling her what I was going to do? I don't know. What is he trying to get across here? It's starting to feel all disjointed here, in my opinion. It's like, I get that it's trying to set up the whatever Gatsby is going to do to kind of win the day in the end. But just the order of the information, it's kind of weird. All right, let's see if it straightened itself out. It feels repetitive, is what I mean. Like, is he talking to Daisy or is he still talking to Nick? All right, so it sounds like one of them is gonna die or something. You know, they're enjoying these last moments together. It comes across as a little creepy that Nick is telling the story. Doesn't it? picture like Tobey Maguire, like, just peeping in on these two couple. I mean, this couple. All right, let's take a little break. Take a little break as in try to type really fast. Let's do the 1 minute typing challenge where I try to type as many words as I can in a minute. All right, you ready for this? I think we all get the drill now. I got 79 last time, I think, which was really good, which was almost 80. Let's try to get 80. I can do this. Don't feel like writing, I know. But I will do this. For you, I'm gonna do this. God damn you. Oh no. Oh, I'm already doing so bad. It sucks when you mess up early. It's like, that was awful. It was awful. I felt not good. Felt very rusty. So I got captain wrong. I got front wrong. I had a hard time spelling extraordinarily. Okay, so we'll minus 2. We'll minus 2 from it. $55. Not bad. Not bad. Not 80. Actually, that's much better than I thought it did because I kind of gave up there. All right, still talking about Gatsby's pass, whatever. It really just feels like he's just shoving in information to kind of tie everything together. Doesn't it feel like that? It's like there's no coherent like scenes happening. It's kind of just jumping all over the place. Beside her. Captain Artemis, he tried renting. Okay, I think this is still happening in the past. Oh. But it's not coming across as like a proper flashback. It's just like Nick just like throwing information at us, right? Daced. Daced is a good name. Daced. That should be, what's the male name for Daisy? David? I think it's David, but it should be Daced. RT. God. Kids and artificial chair. Page turn. Alrighty. What's going on? Alright, it's kind of, I believe it's now setting up Daisy's past, trying to tie up some loose ends on Daisy's side of the story, trying to set up how these two characters are gonna put their past aside and be together in the end. I think that's what's happening. I think this is the approach Fitzgerald is taking with the story. Season. Daisy. So here's my theory of why Fitzgerald chose to kind of load all this information at the beginning of this chapter, right after a chapter that was really intense. It's because, like me typing this, if you're reading this book and you get to this point, you kind of have to finish now. You kind of have to keep going. So if there's ever any kind of, exposition heavy part in your story where you don't know where to put it, perhaps a good part to put it is just immediately after the climax when there's so many questions left to be answered. You could put some of it there to just kind of, the reader still has that momentum to get to the end. Not that I have momentum at the moment. I'm kind of just, I guess that's momentum. Just it slows them down a little bit after the climax. You don't want to rush, head first into the ending. You really want them to kind of dwell in this dark night of the soul area and to get information about these characters, but not have it resolved too quickly. I think that's kind of my theory of why the beginning of this chapter is like this. It's because Fitzgerald still has so much to tell you about these characters, about their past, about how they end up where they are. And yeah. Yeah, like I said at the beginning, things need to come full circle. I think that's what's happening right now. By going back to the past a little bit, I think we're getting this full circle effect, that full understanding of who these characters are. Very interesting. Because you don't want this stuff at the very end. You need it here, just as like a little break between the actions. We understand the consequences that are gonna happen now. It's like, oh, these two people are probably gonna have to separate at some point, or the police might arrest them. So we kind of have our theory of what's gonna happen, but I don't know. Just kind of, the police, it's coming for me. Yeah. All right. All right. Okay. I forgot to do the Fitzgerald fun fact of the day. Let's do that really quickly and let's finish off this page. We'll wrap this whole thing up. All right, we'll go quickly with this one. Fun fact. Fitzgerald declined an offer of $10,000 for serial rights, fearing that it would delay the book's publication, which was set for April 10th, 1925. Serial rights is, I believe, I might be wrong on this, but it allows your work to be not just published as a novel, but it could be published in magazines or, I mean, there weren't any blogs back then, but it would allow the owner to still publish it, which would be Fitzgerald, to publish it in different areas. And he chose to decline it, decline $10,000 to do that, to publish in probably magazines. Fun fact, because he wanted this finished on time, and then it performed really badly. Sorry, I'm rushing. I feel very rushed. Maybe it's this coffee. Maybe it's the other 5 cups of coffee that I drank today. Why am I still so tired? Still so tired. Okay, let's finish this up. Gatsby's hilarious. It's like all he talks about. Right. We'll end it there today. We did good. We did good. We're on pace. We're on pace. I think. I feel it. Feel it. It's dwindling down. It's dwindling down. What an episode. What an episode. This was an eclectic episode. I don't particularly like these sections. I'm suspect of how Fitzgerald opens chapters. I guess all of them kind of have the same structure, right? It's kind of Nick just telling us things before a scene actually forms. One can imagine by the end of this chapter, there's one, anchoring scene that we're building towards, that we're gonna reach. But now it just seems like a bunch of eclectic narrations from Nick, and yeah, we got through it. We got through another episode. Cheers. Cheers. All right, thank you once again for joining me. A pleasure as always as we wind down this historic event, this legacy that we're creating. Yes, thank you for joining me. I'll see you guys next week.